Obstructions to visibility, such as fog or smoke, can cause great consequences. A small mistake would be quite common. An injury is not too common, but is still a regular occurrence. A car crash is less likely, and a train derailment is even less likely. So, how unlikely was it that on the 4th of December 1957, that a train stopped under a bridge in dense fog before being smashed in the rear by an express train, causing the bridge to collapse on top of the wreckage just at the same time a train is going to cross the collapsed bridge? Well, even if it is a microscopic chance, it's still a chance. This is the story of the Lewisham Train Disaster of 1957. A tranquil December evening in Lewisham, London. The 5:18 p.m. Charing Cross to Hayes service, comprising British Rail EMUs, totalling to a 10-car train and carrying 1,500 passengers, stopped at a red signal at Parks Bridge Junction, a bridge that carries train tracks over the South Eastern Main Line. The trains were running out of schedule due to the dense fog. Behind it was a passenger train heading to Ramsgate via Folkestone, with steam engine 34066 Spitfire, part of the Battle of Britain class, and 11 coaches carrying 700 passengers. The driver of the electric was contacted by the Parks Junction signalman, trying to confirm the train's identity. The steam train behind it hit the switch, and then all hell broke loose. The steam train plows into the electric, causing the two rear cars to be moderately damaged, while the existing momentum telescoped the 8th coach into the 9th, as a tender and leading coach of the Ramsgate train crashed off the track, dislodging a pier of the bridge, causing it to fall and crush the two moderately damaged coaches. 2 minutes later, a third train bound for going over the bridge was about to crash, but the quick thinking of the driver was able to stop it just as it tilted in a precarious position as it were to fall off. Finally, the war of the crash ends.
Over 70 killed and about 200 injured near Lewisham in the worst rail crash since Harrow and Wealdstone. But this time there was additional horror, for it was the crash no one saw. Thick fog wrapped everything as the 456 steam train from Cannon Street to Ramsgate crashed into the back of the 518 electric train from Charing Cross to Hayes, Kent.
The first emergency services arrived at 6:25 p.m, with the fire brigade, ambulance and police being assisted by doctors and nurses. The Salvation Army, St John's Ambulance Parade, the Women's Voluntary Service and local residents volunteered to help get out those trapped.
Worst tragedy of all was the fact that the crash came under a viaduct carrying another line. Rearing coaches destroyed the support and the steel bridge collapsed, crushing several compartments and everybody in them.
All 4 of the running lines under the bridge, as well as the 2 on top that were on the bridge, were blocked by the crash. At St John's Station, just north of the bridge, the North Kent line diverges, but it needed to be closed since the electric third rail had to be shut off during the rescue. 90 people were killed, and 173 were injured. An emergency timetable started on the following day at 6:10 a.m, with local trains travelling through Lewisham, avoiding the accident site, and mainline services were diverted to London Victoria Terminus. At 4 p.m. on December 9th, the trains and bridge were cut up and removed. The track was relaid and the lines under the bridge were reopened on the 12th of December. A temporary trestle bridge was built in its place. However, to this day, it has not been replaced. But what happened? The report on the collision was published in 1958. It was discovered that there were no faults with the signal. It was found that the driver did not slow down for 2 approach signals and only applied the brakes when the fireman alerted him that he had passed a signal of danger. The reason was similar to the 1952 Harrow and Wealdstone train crash, poor visibility options for reading signals. The engine itself, a Battle of Britain-class steam engine, was known for its poor visibility due to its large boiler, and it would make the signal quite hard to read. Add on the heavy fog, and you have a recipe for disaster. This would lead to the rebuilding of several members of the class into a more standard design. AWS would have prevented this crash, and while it had been deployed across the network, British Railways, BR, had prioritised installation on main lines with the older semaphore signals. But this wasn't the first or the last time a rail incident happened at Lewisham. In 1857, there was a train collision that killed 11, and in 2018, 11 trains were stranded due to the snow and freezing rain. But the Lewisham Train Disaster of 1957 will never be forgotten.